So now, let's come to text 41. Krishna is saying, actually, it is very heavy demand. Can you ask anybody, give up everything, take care? I have told sometimes, yes, you surrender, will take care. He's so confident that he's thinking, as I am doing for Krishna, Krishna will take care. That is a no fear of telling that. We can at least say, surrender to Srila Prabhupada, ISKCON will take care. Without any hesitation, we can say that. So, for that, we should how much commitment, respect to someone. So, we will do that. So, Krishna is explaining. Jeme matam idam nityam anutishthante manava suttavanto anushanti muchanti api karma. Jeme matam idam, those who may my matam idam this. Whatever I told in previous text 30, those who my in this statement, nityam anutishtanti, nityam eternal function, anutishtanti executive line. If you want as the eternal function, anutishtanti. Nityam anutishtanti means execute regularly. Thinking it is my eternal function. It is not that I'll do bhakti for 5 years after that. I no need. No, not like that. Manava means instruction for the humans. Other living entity cannot understand. Shraddha Pantaha, faith and devotion. Anushanta, without envy. Muchanti, become free. They all of them copy even karmavi from the bondage, the law of freedom. Execute their duties according to my injunctions, and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from bondage of free actions. I'm reading again. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions. What is that? Surrender everything. Nirmama Bhutta. And who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fleeting actions. The injunction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception, as the Vedas are eternal. So this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have some faith in this injunction without ending the law. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita, but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of free action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the law, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord. But because one is not resentful for this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Text 32. Jetu eto abhushanto nanutishchante sarva jnana vimurakstan vidhi nashtanachitash. Almost same, 31st and 32nd. If you are Shraddhavan faithful, you will get. On the other hand, Jetu, those two, however, two means but. However, but however means those who are faithful. You are not faithful, but Jetu, but those who have etat, this injunction, surrender, that opposyanta, out of envy. Ashua, Ashua means envy. Opposyanta means out of envy. Non-utishtanti, not far from. Onutishtanti means continuously. That means regularly far from. Opposyanta, no onutishtanti, me matam, my injunction, my disorder, out of envy, not far from regularly. What 11? Sarva jnana vimuran. All sorts of knowledge. Vimuran, perfectly beautiful. Tan, Tya, Vidhi, know it well. Nashtan, all ruined. Achetasha, without Krishna consciousness. But those who, out of envy, disregard these teachings and do not follow them regularly, are to be considered bereft of all knowledge, befooled, and ruined in their endeavors for perfection. Part 1. The flow of not being Krishna conscious, the flow of not being Krishna conscious is clearly stated herein. As there is punishment for disobediences to the order of the Supreme Executive Head, so there is certainly punishment for disobedience to the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A disobedient person, however, great him if he is ignorant of his own self and of the Supreme Brahma, Paramatma, and the Personality of Godhead due to a vacant heart. So, four things, oneself, and about Lord, three things, Brahma, Paramatma, however. They will be bereft from all. Therefore, there is no hope of perfection, life, him. Text 33. Swadishang Tishtute Shasya Yukte Ganvanati Yuktim Jantani Nigrokim Chati Shadisham accordingly. Cheshtate tries, Cheshta tries. Shasya Sa own by own Shasya. Prakriti modes of nature. Yanavan learned of all. Even a learned person, OP, according to mode of nature. If he, Krishna is saying, if you don't listen my word, you work according to your nature. If you are in Tamagun, mode of ignorance, you will work in that. If you are in a mode of passion, you will work according. If you are in a mode of goodness, you will work in that. Prakritim nature, janti under Bhutani, all Nigram, repression, keep what Krishyati can do. Even a man of knowledge acts according to his own nature. For every thing he has acquired from the three modes. What can repression accomplish? Repression, Nibritti cannot do anything because he is forced to work according to his mode of nature. Unless one is situated on the transcendental platform of Krishna consciousness, he cannot get free from the influence of the modes of material nature, as it is confirmed by the Lord in the 7th chapter. Therefore, even for the most highly educated person on the mountain plane, it is impossible to get out of the entanglement of Maya simply by theoretical knowledge or by separating the soul from the body. Hiranyakashipu knew what is the divine body and soul. Kongsha knew body and soul. We have seen when Kongsha was specifying Devaki, that time also it. So Kongsha, Hiranyakashipu, they knew very well divine body and soul. But that is not enough. There are many so-called spiritualists who outwardly pose as advanced in the science, but inwardly or privately are completely under particular modes of nature, which they are unable to surpass. Academically, one may be very learned, but because of his long association with material nature, he is in bondage. Krishna consciousness helps one to get out of the material entanglement. Even though one may be engaged in his prescribed duties in terms of material existence. Therefore, without being fully in Krishna consciousness, one should not give up his occupational duties. No one should suddenly give up his prescribed duties and become a so-called yogi or transcendentalist artificially. It is better to be situated in one's position and to try to attain Krishna consciousness and spiritual training. Thus, one will be freed from the clutches of Krishna's Maya. Indriyasya arthe agattishu vyavastito tarna vasham agacchit tohyasya paripanthino. Indriyasya arthe, Indriyasya of the senses. Indriyasya arthe, arthe means for senses. Indriyasya arthe means in the sense objects. Indriyasya, essential one for sense gratification. Ragat desha vyavastito, rag, anurag, attachment, vyavastito, put under regulation, vyavastha. Toyo, both of them, both. One is attached or detached. Toyo, of both of them. No, never. Vasham control, agachet, one should come. So, those two, he certainly also is. Paripunthenu, stumbling block. Paripuntha, pantha against the pantha, against the path. Very good. Paripunthenu means stumbling block on the path. There are principles to regulate attachment and aversion pertaining to the senses and their objects. One should not come under the control of such attachment and aversion because they are stumbling blocks on the path of self-realization. I am reading. There are principles regulate attachment aversion. One should regulate attachment aversion both. Why? Because they are a stumbling block on the path of self-realization. Those who are in consciousness are naturally reluctant to engage material sense gratification. But those who are not in consciousness should follow the rules and regulations of the religious scriptures. Unrestricted sense enjoyment, the cause of material engagement. One who follows rules and regulations of the religious scriptures does not become entangled by the sense objects. For example, sex enjoyment is necessary for the conditions, and sex enjoyment is allowed under the license of marriage. Under the license of marriage ties. According to scriptural injunctions, one is forbidden to engage in sex relationship with any woman other than one's wife. All other women are to be considered as one's mother. But instead of such injunctions, a man is still inclined to have sex relationship with other women. These propensities are to be curbed. Otherwise, they will stumbling block the path of self-realization. As long as the material body is there, these material body are allowed. But under rules and regulations, and yet we should not rely upon the control of such allowances. One has to follow those rules and regulations unattached to them. Because practice of sense gratification under regulations also lead one to go astray. As much as there is always a chance of an accident, even on the royal roads, although they may be very carefully maintained, no one can guarantee that there will be no danger. Even on the fastest road, the sense enjoyment spirit has been currently a very long time owing to material association. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is very chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. But attachment of Krishna consciousness by acting always in the loving service of the Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one should try to be detached from Krishna consciousness at any stage. Problem. Okay. Sound is clear. Therefore, in spite of regulated sense enjoyment, there is every chance of falling down. Therefore, any attachment for regulated sense enjoyment must also be avoided by all means. But attachment to Krishna consciousness or acting always in the loving service of Krishna detaches one from all kinds of sensory activities. Therefore, no one try to detach from Krishna consciousness at any stage of life. The whole purpose of detachment from all kinds of sense attachment is ultimately to become seated on the platform of Krishna consciousness. Text 35. Sriyan Shadharma Viguna Parodharmat Shashtita. Shadharma Nidhanam Sri Parodharma Bhayava. Very nice verse. One should not imitate other. Sriyan, better. Sriya means better. Sriyan, far better. Shadharma, one's prescribed duties. One's prescribed duties far better. For Arjuna, fighting is better than any other service. Biguna, even faulty. The Shadharma even is faulty for Arjuna. You have to kill grandfather and teacher. Still, the Shadharma is Sriya. Paradharma, Shanishtika. Paradharma, then duties mentioned for others. Paradharma. Shanishtika, perfectly done. Better than that. Why? Shadharma Nidhanam. In Shadharma, in one's scripty, Nidhanam Sriyo. Destruction is better. Shadharma Nidhanam Sriyo. Paradharma Bhayava. Paradharma duties prescribed for others. Bhayava, dangerous. Bhayava. Bhay, fear. It's cause of fear, dangerous. Far better to check one's prescribed duties, even though faulty, than another's duties perfectly. Distraction in the cause of performing one's own duty is better than engaging in another's duties. For to follow another's path is dangerous. One should therefore charge his duties in full Krishna consciousness, rather than those prescribed for others. Materially prescribed duties enjoined according to one's psychological condition under the spell of the modes of material nature. Spiritual duties are as ordered by the spiritual master for the transcendental service of Krishna. But whether material or spiritual, one stick to his prescribed duties, even after death, rather than imitate another's prescribed duties. Duties on the spiritual platform and duties on the material platform may be different. But the principle of following the authorized direction is always the power. When one is under the spell of the modes of material nature, one should follow the prescribed rules for his particular situation and should not imitate others. For example, a Brahman who is in the mode of goodness is non-violent. Or a Kshatriya who is in the mode of passion is allowed to be violent. As such, for Kshatriya, it is better to be vanquished following the rules of violence. Imitate the Brahman follows the principles of non-violence. Everyone has to cleanse his heart by a gradual process, not abruptly. However, when one transcends the mode of material nature, and is fully situated in Krishna consciousness. He thought from anything and everything under the direction of a perfect spiritual master. In that complete state of Krishna consciousness, the Kshatriya may act as a Brahman, or a Brahman may act as a Kshatriya. In the transcendental stage, the distinction of the material world do not apply. For that, very nice example is there. When we can break these rules, in transcendental platform with this. For example, Vishwamitra was originally a Kshatriya, but later on he acted as a Brahman. Or Parshuram was a Brahman, but later on he acted as a Kshatriya. Being transcendental state, they could do so, but as long as one is on the material platform, he must perform his duties according to the mode of material nature. At the same time, must have a full sense of Krishna consciousness. So Krishna has understood. Okay. But another question came in my mind. Arjuna asked, Arjuna was, Othokana Prajuktayam Papam Charidosh. Arjuna's question is all condition. Arjuna was Arjuna say, Otho then, Kyana, by what? Prajukteno impe Oyam one. Papam sins charity does Purush a man. Anichan api all the anichan without saying. Parshneo Arjuna. Sorry, Parshna is Krishna. Or descendant of Brishniku, Bangsha, dynasty. Krishna's name is Parshna because he's descendant of Brishni. Balat Ivoniyata, Balat, by force, Ivo, as if knew this. Nice question by Arjuna. Or descendant of Krishna. Why? What is one built to sinful acts? Even unwilling, as if engaged by force. This is our question. Bengali there is Bhag. Mone bole heno karma na kariba, shabhab kare karita. I don't know what to do, but due to my propensity, modes, I'm forced to do. What is the solution? Origins ask question. A living entity, as part and parcel of the Supreme, is originally spiritual, pure, and free from all material contaminations. Therefore, by nature, he is not subject to the sins of the material world. But he is in contact with the material nature. He acts in sinful ways, and sometimes but when he is in contact with the material nature, he acts many sinful ways without hesitation, and sometimes even against his will. As such, Krishna is very sanguine as to be perverted nature of the living entities. Although the living entity sometimes does not want to act same, he is still forced to act. are not, however, impelled by the supersoul within, but are due to another cause, as the Lord explains in the next verse. Sometimes people comment, oh, I don't want, then he has no fault. Fault is in Krishna. Krishna is doing. What is Krishna's business? To engage in sinful activities. We are doing sinful activities at the same time blaming to Krishna. Original's question are to eradicate this problem. And Krishna will very nicely answer. We get one to question. Okay.